Welcome back, everybody, to the Balkin Baseball Show. Today, we're talking about the Los Angeles Angels, or as most of us like to call them, the Anaheim Angels. And I've got a pretty simple one for you here today, and I think a lot of people were pleased by it. I can't imagine many Angel fans were pleased by it, but the ones that understand baseball, I think, would probably have a pretty positive outlook on everything that's gone on over the course of the last week or so of the trade deadline. And I'm titling this one here, the Anaheim Angels finally threw in the towel. Kinda. And now I say kinda because there's a few things that have happened since then, and I'll wait to go to that next slide there, is they did the right thing by making trades and dealing off pieces that can fetch them a return, like the Jose Soriano trade, like the Joe Adell trade, Logan O'Hoppy's trade, kind of. But the thing is they just did what the Angels always do, and they waited just a tiny bit too long to cash in. And I know it's hard. For the Angels with Shohei Ohtani, you might have heard of him. That was a guy that they refused to let go of. And again, you don't want to be the team that trades a superstar and looks like an idiot. You also don't want to be the team that doesn't trade a superstar and looks like an idiot anyways. The Angels were, let's be honest, probably going to end up looking like an idiot regardless, because he wouldn't come back to Anaheim. And if they traded him, people would have been like, oh my God, how could you possibly trade Shohei Ohtani? But I digress. The Angels finally picked a direction for the most part. And now I want to talk about, as a Southern California resident myself, obviously grew up, was a Detroit fan my whole life, still a Detroit fan. But now I've lived in California for over 5 years, approaching 6, I think, 5 or 6. I've been here since 2021. So we're over 5. So I've been here 5 years now, and I've been going to Angel games the whole time because, for the most part, no offense to the Angel fans, tickets are cheap. I'm able to go to 20, 30 games a year, sometimes more than. Over the last couple seasons, it's probably been between 30 and 40, maybe even 50 on the high end. But here's a slide I want to talk about. This is why I care. I've lived in Anaheim literally 5-10 minutes down the road from Angel Stadium for over 5 years. Like I just mentioned, I attend between 30 and 40 games a season. Behind the Tigers, of course, my actual favorite team. The Angels have become a pseudo team away from home for me. That it's just one of those teams that you watch on TV every now and then, or you see in person enough, and you're like, you know what, damn it, I want them to succeed. And for the sake of this franchise, the city, and of course all of its fans, I would like nothing more than to even see the Angels just to sneak into the playoffs. Obviously not going to happen this year. They're probably going to lose 100 games. But if I could see the Angels win 85, 87 games and jump into a wild card round, or win the division by accident in an AL West that's weakening as the years go on, I think that would be a great thing for baseball. And I think a lot of people would rally behind the idea of getting into the playoffs aside from the Dodgers. And again, hold a special place in my heart. I've been here over 5 years now. You do something for 5 years straight, or you see something for 5 years straight, it starts to become a bit of a routine for you. You get it used to it. You get adjusted. And again, for that reason, that is why I care. We're going to go over the outs before we get into the ins. Logan O'Hoppy, Chase Silseth got dealt to Texas about a week before the deadline. Joe Adell found his way over to Cleveland. Jose Soriano north of the border to Toronto. Ryan Zefferjon all the way over to Chicago. Kirby Yates to Pittsburgh. And Brent Suter was sent to Atlanta. Now we go over the first deal here. It was Angel Arredondo who came back, or Angel. I'm going to say Angel right now just because it's in my head. I'm talking about the Angels, so I apologize, Mr. Arredondo, if you're watching this video. Angel Arredondo comes back, very young prospect. I believe he's an A ball right now, not even low A or high A. He used to right smack dab in the middle at A. He's 19 years old. He comes back in return for the most part for Chase Silseth, and on the idea of Logan O'Hoppy, what he had not a season ago, but 2 seasons ago, where he showed off some pop. He was a quality catcher. And who knows? 19 years old. He's still a couple years away. I believe his MLB ETA was 2029 or 2030. So he's 2, 3, 4 seasons away from ever actually making an appearance in the bigs. The following was the return of the Jose Soriano trade. And now, of course, this is the best trade by a mile that they were able to get done. This is, of course, dealing Jose Soriano, who has multiple years of control, is having a great season, and is a guy who showcased legitimate ace qualities at the start of the year. Obviously, has always had some trouble with the walks, has always had some trouble with the momentum of the game as you start to get into those later innings, but he's been great for, I would say, the whole season, and was excellent for about a month and a half at the start of the year. They return Eddie Micheletti, who's an outfielder, AA, 24 years old, much older prospect. ETA is 2027. Could end up being a platoon outfield bat, I think, at best. He's certainly a late bloomer if he gets to anything more than that. The next piece was Angel Rivero, who's a right-handed pitcher in rookie ball. He's 19 years old. Very, very young, very, very raw, toolsy prospect. Throws well, but doesn't really know where he's going sometimes, and that's kind of what rookie ball is for a lot of guys to just figure it out. So you hope that in the rookie ball system there for the Angels, he's able to start to figure it out. But the big return and the prospect that everybody was talking about getting moved, even the Jays fans over there in the north, was Arjun Namala, a shortstop who is only 20 years old and has already found his way in Double-A. Could very possibly finish the year in Triple-A if he continues to hit. He is absolutely a shortstop at the major league level. Not the biggest, like, jacked up Carlos Correa kind of build of a shortstop where he's 6'4", 6'5", 210, 215. He's a lot more nimble, as I would put it. Almost like an Andrelton Simmons that can hit. Not as great a defender, of course, but that similar build where he's not too tall, he's not super stocky, he's not going to hit you 20, 30 homers. He's probably a guy who at his peak is 17 to 22 bombs. He's going to bat 270, have an OPS of 900 or anything like that. He'd probably be a 750, 800 guy, but play a very good defense up the middle. And that was the thing with Namala was, great, he's athletic, he can run, he can throw, he can field with the best of them, but can he hit? And so far this season, he's shown that he can. And I think that's a big, big quality that the Angels were able to pick up such a valued prospect there in the Jays system. Next one, super, super simple one. Jacob Cozart, the Angels get back here in return for Joe Adell. Again, this is where I talk about the holding on to guys too long. Like last year would have been a great year to deal Joe Adell. What was it, 37 bombs, almost 100 RBIs or something stupid? Like, guy had an unbelievable season, 8-something OPS or something like that. This year, it's just the power looks like it's gone. He still put the ball over the fence, but his OPS, I'm pretty sure, is under 700 to this point. He's never been a great defender by any means. Has always been a toolsy, big, fast guy, athletic guy. But the biggest concern is, can he hit and can he get on base? And he showed that he could do both last year and hit for power as well. But they decided that this year was the year they'd deal him. And because of that, you get a defense-first catcher who can occasionally put the ball over the fence, a 23-year-old at Double-A. There isn't much to say there. The next batch of the ins. This is where we have a little bit more to say here, and I apologize for that block of text on the left side. But you get Moibao from the Cubs, which was a great addition. In Triple-A at 22 years old, he's having a very solid season. He's actually already in the bigs. He's played a couple games with the Angels now, if I'm not mistaken. He's played at least one. I saw he went 1 for 4 the other day in his first game in Anaheim. But he's an offensive first catcher. Absolutely will not be a catcher in the majors, I don't think. He's got a very weird build. I believe he's 5'8", like 205. So he's very short, a little more stocky of a build, as you can see in his photo there. Definitely ends up as a first baseman or a everyday DH. And if he can hit with this unique build that he has, then great. If he's going to bat you 240, 250, hit 25 homers, sure, plug him into my lineup every single day. I'd love to have a guy like that. But he also falls into the category of, because he's not the biggest dude in the world, there's concern that if that 240, 250, and 25 homers isn't there, it's 210, 220, and 10 to 15 homers. And if you're a catcher that can't catch, and a first baseman that can't play first base, and you're a DH that doesn't hit well, you can see where the concern kind of comes in there. The next ad, Mason McGuire, right-handed pitcher. High A ball right now, 22 years old, solid build for a kid. Can absolutely thank his dad, Mark, for that one, because he's a pretty big guy. He projects to be a back-end starter, a middle relief arm, in my opinion, looking at his numbers, his control, his walks, his strikeouts, all the very, bare bones numbers. Obviously, I'm not nearly as familiar with the massive analytics or anything, but you're usually able to tell pretty confidently what kind of player you're getting with a pitcher or with a hitter, looking at innings pitched, hits, strikeouts, walks. You can gauge the control a little bit, especially now with how easy it is to draw walks or to strike guys out because of the robot umpires and challenging. A fine addition there, 22 years old. MLB ETA is 2028, so he's only 2-3 years away from getting in the majors there at about 24, 23 through age 25. Again, solid ad. The next one, a surprising prospect that was dealt, Nacho Alvarez Jr. AAA ball player right now. Hasn't played in the majors since last year, if I'm not mistaken. Did not get a cup of coffee with the Braves this year before being traded. Bat has not been there at all. Like, it looks like he can't hit. And as a defense first shortstop, who again is a very short guy, and I did not know. I believe he's listed at 5'7" or 5'8". Not a big dude. Offensive output does not look there at his size and at his position. Definitely looks like he's going to end up as a second baseman, just based off the physicals alone. And if the bat can tick up to league average, just below league average, maybe you're able to get by as a quality or sub-quality major league ball player. But the concern for him has been the offense, and I think that's going to continue to be a concern as he suits up in Salt Lake and maybe eventually Anaheim at the end of this year. Next ad, Kyle Robinson, AA ball player, age 23. Kid's freaking massive. I looked at his profile and everything. He's huge. 6'6", 225. Averages a strikeout per inning, but also walks a good chunk of guys as well. It basically seems like for every strikeout, he's also walking a guy, which bumped his whip a little bit. It makes it a little bit of a concern when you've got a guy who can't really control his pitches all that well, and he's already 23. He's already in AA. It feels like that's a guy who gets stuck in AA or AAA till he's 25, 26. And as a starter right now, it definitely doesn't look like that's where he's going to end up, if he's going to end up in the bigs. Now, the Angels are notorious for calling guys up when they're not ready. So it's very possible any of the guys we've talked about, especially Robinson, who is a big guy and projects to physically at least look like a capable major leaguer, could end up in the majors as soon as next week. But I have no way to tell if that's going to happen. But Robinson projects to be a back-end starter at best. And I think at worst, you could turn him into a very quality relief arm. Somebody of that size, mass is gas, as I've said numerous times now across the 2 videos that I've made. Big guys, they can throw because they're big. And that's something that'll benefit the kid as he continues to age, continues to hone in that command a little bit. And I see it as a plus there for the Angels just to get some bodies back for guys that they were not going to keep after this season. Next thing I want to talk about, the good news. The Angels came into this year with the 28th ranked farm system in baseball. Mind you, that is third to last. One top 100 prospect, and it was Tyler Bremner, who they took above slot value at, I believe, number 2 or number 3 in this past Major League draft. Not the one that just happened in this June, but last June. The Angels, as everybody knows, are notorious for drafting guys who are older, 3rd or 4th year college players, getting them up as soon as possible. Basically, in Nolan Shonwell's case, within the same year he was drafted, or in Zach Neto's case, immediately following the year he was drafted. And they've done that with numerous guys. And I think that trading a lot of those bodies that they weren't going to keep after this year and trading for younger prospects has almost forced them in a way to not be able to call them up super fast. Guys who are 19, 20, 21 years old, where it would basically be viewed as a league-wide mistake to have called guys up that young and that early. You can see there what I've written on the side. After so many years of consistent hesitancy and failure to reload or rebuild, the Angels have finally chosen a direction, and that is to tank it out the remainder of the year. The pieces received outside of Arjun Namala are not fantastic by any means, but there's been an abundance of minor league prospects vaulted into the Angels farm system, which was extremely weak before this deadline. Previously, like I had mentioned there, 28th at the start of the 2026 season. Next thing, age of prospects matters. Just as I was hinting at before, over the last 3 or 4 seasons, the Angels have been notorious for drafting 3rd, 4th year college players well ahead of their slot selections due to them being the most quote unquote, now I'm putting heavy quotations up here, major league ready, just like I put in parentheses, according to them. Rushing those bodies to the bigs has worked somewhat in the cases of Nolan Shonwell and Zach Neto, who are quality major league ball players. Zach Neto is a perennial 20-25 homer shortstop who plays average to below average defense. Nolan Shonwell is a fine defender at first base who knows the zone like the back of his hand. Kid can draw a walk. I absolutely believe that. And he's a fine contact bat. But in most cases, it does more damage than it does good. I look at Christian Moore, who is a highly touted prospect coming out of college at Tennessee, and has struggled mightily in both stints in the majors the last 2 years since he was drafted, to the point where I believe there was a locker room blow up not too long ago when he was last optioned, and understandably so. It's the frustration of you get called up right away, you struggle, you don't get time to develop. That does a number on guys, no matter how young or old or experienced or elite of a prospect you are. It hurts the mental, and as we know in baseball, if something bugs the brain, it means pretty big damage for the actual play on the field. Next thing, winners or losers. And that's something that a lot of people I've seen have gone both ways. But I do believe that the Angels are a winner from this deadline for a couple reasons. And not because they landed a ton of prospects that are insane top 50s, top 75s, top 100s, and they cleaned out teams, they fleeced their farm systems, but because they chose a direction, they got younger, they added quantity alongside quality. And the last one there, obviously, they showed their fan base that, hey, we're not going to try and be mediocre. Let's tank it out this year, and let's see if we can bring her back next year or the following season. And as a fan of a Tigers team who was dog you-know-what for a decade straight, you can respect it. Sometimes, as a franchise, you just got to go, you know what? It's not working. Ask the San Diego Padres how it feels to just keep dragging the same team out there every year and expecting results to change. It doesn't feel great. And when your franchise just goes, you know what? We got to admit it. It ain't working. You can appreciate that as much as it may suck for the next couple seasons. The Angels choosing to tank and to just mail off or send off guys that they frankly were not going to keep is a great thing. They got younger, which is very important. And they added quantity because this farm system has been really, really bad. Sometimes with prospects, you can be wrong and you can be very right, and you can be very wrong and you can be kind of right. And when you add 8 new prospects at the deadline, all of which are age 24 or younger, if you stumble into 1 or 2 of them being great, that's an awesome return. For guys, for the most part, outside of Jose Soriano, were not that integral to your team. Next, what is next for the Angels? Easiest answer in the world, as I've said numerous times throughout this video, commit to the rebuild. I know, everybody knows, the world knows, everybody loves Mike Trout. I love him as much as the next person, and everybody in baseball, including myself, and I can imagine everyone watching this video, wants to see the guy compete for something that matters more than winning the lottery at the end of the season. But he's made it very clear numerous times over the last few years especially that him getting traded is not on the table. He's been committed to Anaheim. He's been here his whole career. He has been there through all of the ups and every single down, and there have been a lot of downs. He's raised a family here. He's got his wife, his kids, everything from where he's from is all the way out here now. And if I believe I'm not mistaken, Newport Beach is where he lives. So he is committed to the Angels, whether they're committed to winning with him or after him or anytime soon. He is going to be wearing the halo for the remainder of his career. Here's what everybody wants to talk about with the Angels. If done right, the Angels could be back in the playoff mix or at least in divisional contention in the next season or 2, maybe 3 at the worst. This team isn't bad. It is just spread too thin. And that's something I think a lot of people look at. When you take flyers on guys like Grayson Rodriguez, like Yusei Kikuchi in free agency, or like Tyler Anderson in free agency, guys who have been okay before or have been injured or haven't been able to string together numerous years in a row of consistent success, it's hard to justify going back out and trying to reinvest again. And when you look at the team that they've got, because of their drafting strategy, when you draft a guy in 2025 and he debuts in 2025, well, it's hard to look at the guys behind him because there aren't any. You draft a guy in 2025, he's supposed to be there in 2-3 years, but if he's already in the major leagues, well, there's nobody there to call back up when he struggles, or a quote-unquote young guy to get a cup of coffee to. When you draft a 23-year-old and they're in the majors at 23, like I've said multiple times here, there's nobody to fill in the gap. For example, Zach Neto struggled this year. Doesn't get optioned, doesn't miss time. Only thing he did was play every single day because they have nobody to fill in for him. Same thing with Nolan Shonwell at first base. Yeah, Vaughn Grissom can play first, but now third base is empty. And as much as I love Oswald Peraza or Jose Siri or Vaughn Grissom, all guys who have had great revitalization seasons this year, well, they're all in their mid to late 20s. And there's nobody behind them to fill in the shoes should either of them come out of the lineup or any of those guys get traded or anything like that. The Angels need to take these next 2 draft cycles extraordinarily, cautiously, importantly, seriously. Fill in a buzzword here. They cannot whiff. And they cannot go by their old drafting strategy where you take a 22-year-old, 23-year-old college ball player. You've got to look at the high school guys or the younger college dudes who are like 20 as a junior or 21 as a senior, because you can't risk whiffing on another draft pick that you don't have a replacement for. Because then if you draft a second baseman or a catcher who doesn't pan out because you rushed him to the bigs, well, now your starting catcher is Tyler Heineman again. or your starting left fielder is Jose Siri. No offense to either of those guys, they're just getting older, and you've got nobody to replace them. Or your third and fourth and fifth arms in your bullpen are Yusei Kikuchi. Again, no offense to those guys, it's just they're getting older and they haven't been the greatest. Take the right guy, the best guy, and develop them. There's nothing wrong with drafting an 18, 19, 20-year-old ball player who takes 2, 3, 4 years to get to the bigs. Obviously, if you draft an 18-year-old, he takes 4 years, great. He's 22 when he gets to the majors. Who knows? He could play 15 years because he took that extra year to develop. To wrap up here, thoughts and opinions, because I don't want to ramble too long for you guys. How do you feel about the Angels trade deadline? Obviously, I voiced my opinion on how I feel about it. I don't think by any means that they're the biggest winner of the deadline. Obviously, you could say the Dodgers are there, the Tigers are there. You could say the Mets are there for getting quality back for their pieces they sold off. You could say the Cubs are there for investing a little bit. There's a number of teams you could say had better deadlines, but I certainly think that they're in that top half of just getting some quantity, some quality, and choosing a direction. Do you think, this is a big one, that the Angels are capable of not just rebuilding, but rebuilding properly? That is, I think, a very serious and reasonable question to ask that I would love to hear your answer to. And again, this one's a pretty easy question. I'd be pretty confident with my answer here, but I want to hear from you guys. What was the best trade that the Angels made this season? Because we can include the Logan O'Hoppe one because it was a week before the trade deadline. I have a feeling I know which one it is, but again, I would love to hear what you guys have to think. And what is something you guys would like me to talk about next? There's 28 other teams in Major League Baseball. There's drafts, there's trades, free agency, there's the playoffs coming up. There's a million different things that can be discussed when it comes to the game of baseball, and I'd love to hear what you guys have and would like me to talk about next. But with all that being said, though, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share my channel with your friends who might enjoy sitting down, chatting some ball every now and then. Thank you all again for watching. This was the Balkin Baseball Show. Take care, and I will talk to you all very soon.